Here is a really interesting development. Sony and Microsoft are going head-to-head tomorrow. Yes, we already know that Sony is doing their State of Play show, and that begs to be a big show with a lot of information updates on The Last of Us Part 2 and other game reveals. A couple of rumors have been out on that, but Xbox is firing back. Microsoft's next Inside Xbox show drops tomorrow, and it's going to be competing with Sony's State of Play. Seems like it's going to be a pretty big day for gamers all around, because a lot of the stuff that's shown at State of Play is going to be multiplayer platform, same as the case with Microsoft's Xbox Inside, and it was already confirmed that one of the games is a major multi-platform game releasing next month, so that just means more content for us to digest. Speaking of State of Play, The Last of Us Part 2 new image teases the appearance of Joel. That is something so many people have been wanting to hear more about, and Code Vein, if you're heading out to TwitchCon, you can get the game for free if you donate blood. How about that? That makes a lot of sense given that Code Vein's gimmick. Blood is a big part of it, kinda cool by Bandai Namco. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of this video. So yeah, Microsoft and PlayStation are going head-to-head tomorrow. I don't know if some people are gonna see this as petty. I think Microsoft had this scheduled for a little while now, but Microsoft has just announced that they are doing a Inside Xbox show tomorrow, showcasing a lot of new updates. They know we've got to look at the upcoming single-player sci-fi RPG, The Outer Worlds. So right away, that's a multi-platform game, which I know a lot of you guys that are playing on PlayStation 4, you're incredibly excited about that game. So even though it's a Inside Xbox show, you're seeing Outer Worlds, that's good for PlayStation gamers as well. The latest on Project xCloud and an exclusive interview with John Berthal on Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Okay, another multi-platform game, so that's more information that I'm sure PlayStation gamers are going to be interested in. The scoop on tickets for XO19 coming to London on November 14th, and you're hearing it here first. Studio Wildcard's Atlas is coming to Xbox, and we'll tell you everything you need to know about that. The episode will also feature DayZ, Hitman 2 After Party, which is a game I recently covered. That is the new game from Night School Studio. Definitely interested to see more on that. That's coming to PS4 as well. Code Vein, Felix the Ripper, Children of Morta, another game I'm very interested in, and the next Xbox Game Pass titles, which I always like hearing about because Microsoft really outdoes themselves with Xbox Game Pass. Yes, we're a PlayStation channel, but Game Pass is absolutely a ridiculous value, given that it's $10 a month, given that Gears 5 just got added to it, given that The Outer Worlds is going to be a part of Game Pass. Game Pass is a ridiculous value, and it's kind of a bummer that on the PlayStation, as far as The Outer Worlds is concerned, our only option is paying $60, while Xbox guys and PC guys as well are going to be able to sign up for Game Pass, and they're going to be able to play the game. Of course, Obsidian and Microsoft are now in bed together, so a partnership like that and Outer Worlds ending up on Game Pass actually makes a lot of sense. But nonetheless, there you have it. So, kind of quietly, tomorrow is going to end up being a gigantic day for gaming information. The Last of Us Part 2 is going to get some major drops. State of Play is going to be a 20-minute show as well, so it's not like it's just The Last of Us Part 2 show, even though that's definitely going to be the highlight. They touted new game reveals. We're going to see new gameplay. We're going to see more new stuff at that show. Think of it almost as a little bit like another mini E3 conference, even though Sony wasn't at E3 this year, but they're going head-to-head. You know people are going to talk about who had the better show, but I think for gamers in general, you're just gonna be hearing a lot of cool game updates tomorrow, and that's always a good thing. Alright, next up, State of Play is obviously happening tomorrow, and the imperative notion has been we're gonna get a lot of information on The Last of Us Part 2. We're gonna get a release date, we're gonna get some gameplay, probably gonna get the announcement of various editions that'll be available, but one thing gamers have been dying to know about The Last of Us Part 2 is the fact on whether or not Joel is gonna be an integral character of the game. At this point, we haven't seen Joel at all. When they did that major gameplay reveal at last year's E3, it was completely centered around Ellie, and Ellie has been plastered all over the promotional material, which gets me a little bit worried. Ellie was a cool character, but Joel was the standout to Last of Us. I'm sure they want to develop Ellie as this badass character, but Joel was so awesome, and him not having a major role in The Last of Us Part 2 seemed unfathomable to me. And Neil Druckmann and Troy Baker have each shared a new image seemingly teasing Joel before tomorrow's new Last of Us Part 2 reveal. In a new tweet from The Last of Us Part 2 director Neil Druckmann today, a new image was shared which points back to the game's first primary protagonist, Joel. The image that was shared features a shattering wristwatch, though the watch is still ticking. This is the watch that Joel was given by his daughter Sarah, if you remember in the opening of The Last of Us. Joel got that watch and he still had that watch, and the fact that it's still ticking I feel like is still symbolic. If it stopped ticking, well, that would mean the end of Joel, but since it's still ticking, I figure that means that Joel is still around. I mean, you can't wipe out Joel from the existence of The Last of Us without us actually seeing it. That would be completely ridiculous. Joel was the standout character of The Last of Us, and as good as Ellie was, Joel was that marquee character, and Troy Baker also put out a similar tweet with the caption, "I swear," attached to it. We'll have to wait until tomorrow to hear more about The Last of Us Part 2, but man, this build-up has been happening so long. Do you guys remember when The Last of Us Part 2 was revealed all the way back in PlayStation Experience 2016? Yes, it has been 3 years since that game's initial reveal trailer, and we haven't seen much of it since then. I mean, we got that gameplay drop at E3 2018, we got that reveal trailer, but outside of that, how much of this game have we seen? And you know what? I like that. I like games being kept a little bit more in the dark when they're of these massive IPs already, like The Last of Us. Everybody and their mother is already gonna buy The Last of Us Part 2. You don't need to sell us on this game. It's kind of different from a game like Death Stranding, where Death Stranding is a brand new IP. Yes, people are gonna buy it because it's a Hideo Kojima game, but people were eager to know exactly what that game is. The Last of Us Part 2, I think that uncertainty, I think that mystery kind of adds to the allure of the game. Sure, would it be nice to see a little bit more gameplay? Yeah, and we're gonna get that tomorrow, but for anyone that's complaining about the lack of gameplay, I think we're just conditioned to seeing too much out of a game before it releases. I mean, you got these 2-hour gameplay demos of games being uploaded before a game already releases. In the case of Naughty Dog, in the case of The Last of Us Part 2, and I know only a very select few developers and publishers can get away with this, but we already know the game is going to be phenomenal. When was the last time a Naughty Dog game released and it wasn't, you know, at least a 9 out of 10? And I know sometimes we do throw out these arbitrarily high review scores at times, but Naughty Dog games absolutely warrant that, and I'm sure The Last of Us Part 2 is going to warrant a review score like that as well. Honestly, I wouldn't be all too surprised if this is one of those games that does come out as a 10 out of 10. You know, maybe having expectations like that is a little bit bad, but it's Naughty Dog. Their consistency is some of the most ridiculous consistency I've ever seen from a game developer, and they are one of the pinnacle and pillar game developers in all of gaming today. So that ends my spiel. Last of Us Part 2, the big info drop is coming tomorrow. That is going to be the highlight of State of Play, and I think that is what's going to give a State of Play the edge over Inside Xbox. I mean, whatever Microsoft wants to show off, is it going to be as major as the major Last of Us Part 2 reveal? I don't think so, but it's going to be interesting to dissect nonetheless. And lastly, do want to talk a little bit about Code Vein. Here's a cool promotion that Bandai Namco is doing. Are you by chance heading to TwitchCon this weekend in San Diego? Well, you can go and donate your blood, and you can get the upcoming anime Souls-like Code Vein for free if you can donate blood to the American Red Cross. Obviously, this is very fitting given that blood is a huge element to this game. I just think this is a really cool promotional event that they're doing, a very interesting promotional event. You don't see a lot of developers and publishers step out of the box and try to think a little bit outside of the box to do a promotional event like this. TwitchCon is happening this weekend. Obviously, it's only applicable to a select few of you given that it is in San Diego, and unless you're flying out or you're in the area, that's kind of a little bit of a problem. But Code Vein is a game that I'm incredibly excited for. The demo was a little bit off-putting to me. I think it has some really cool elements. I think the anime art style is fantastic, but I do see some gameplay shortcomings coming out of this game. But I think overall it is going to be a solid title. If you've yet to play the demo, it's available free right now on the PlayStation Store, and you will be able to export your character from the demo into the final game. And there's a lot of customizability there, so you can see all of those elements. You can see the general gameplay and all of that good stuff. But Code Vein is out September 27th. Very interesting because I've noted this week marks the release of 2 distinct Souls-like experiences with Code Vein and The Surge 2. It'll be very interesting to see what is the standout game release of the week, because I just think there's naturally gonna be some comparisons had between those 2 titles, but hopefully they both end up being good games and everybody has interest in both of them. But Code Vein having an anime art style, Surge 2 being a sci-fi game, I think it's gonna be pretty easy for people to make a decision. And as far as Code Vein goes, it is set in the near future. Catastrophic strikes known as the Thorns of Judgment wreak havoc upon the world in a closed-off land called Vein. Vampiric revenants fight for and against one another over supplies of blood in order to hold on to their sanity or risk becoming feral if they don't consume blood. So obviously giving blood and getting Code Vein, kind of a cool little promotion here. And that's gonna conclude this video. Tomorrow's gonna be a big day for game updates. Microsoft is going head-to-head with Sony, with Inside Xbox competing with State of Play. We'll see which ends up being the better show, but given that Last of Us Part 2 is getting the major reveal tomorrow, I think State of Play kind of has this in the bag, and we already know that Microsoft's show is gonna focus on a lot of multi-platform title, so that's inherently going to promote PlayStation as well, but nonetheless, gamers all around have reason to be excited. Neil Druckmann and Troy Baker, as far as Last of Us Part 2 is concerned, they are teasing Joel in the game, so hopefully we get to see some Joel goodness at tomorrow's gameplay reveal. And if you're going to TwitchCon in San Diego, donate some blood and get yourself a free copy of Code Vein. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.